Mike, are the Niners going to beat the Eagles this week?
I wish I could ask you first.
Let me talk about it. There's one team that I say stands in the way more than other teams in the NFL, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles, especially since they're in the same conference and they have a 2-game lead over the 49ers for the 1 seed, which would mean that in the playoffs, the 49ers would have to travel back to Philadelphia if they're both still in playoff contention. Like, let's just say for an NFC championship game, just like last year, and sort of have the rematch of last year. I pray to God we don't ever get the same outcome like we did last year. But, I'm going to let you go first on your prediction, but I'll just say this. The Eagles have a fantastic offensive line, a fantastic defensive line. They've got a great team. They've got great weapons at receiver. DeAndre Swift seems to be a way a bigger upgrade over Miles Sanders than I think people give credit for. Jalen Hurts is still pushing, still getting his tush pushed. We've got a lot of things riding against us. That Philly crowd is going to be absolutely pumped with all that adrenaline off of the stuff that Deebo Samuel was saying. Go ahead, chime in, Mike.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, continue. Continue your point. Just continue.
I'm scared. Just put your pants back on. How about that? No. Where was I? Mike's over here throwing me off. I guess I'll give my prediction first. With all that being said, this is going to be absolutely the hardest matchup that the 49ers will have all season long, except arguably the Ravens. The Ravens game is going to be pretty tough in a couple weeks, but I really think that the Eagles are kind of like, the Niners would have to get through the Eagles first in order to see the Ravens in a potential Super Bowl, right? Oh, you're back, Mike?
Yeah, I'm back. Continue.
Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Just continue, please.
Okay, I notice your attire has changed to green.
Maybe.
No. Is that an Eagles?
Oh, it hurts so good.
Oh my God. All right, that's it. All right, welcome to the Gold and Gold. I'm Josh, and I'm Josh. No.
You see that trophy right there? This man won me that trophy.
You know what? I just spanked you in fantasy this week, dude.
Yeah,
Don't even start. I've won 3 championships, okay? You have 1. Because of DeMar Hamlin. Okay. Oh, switching it to green. All right, why don't you give the prediction? Who is going to win this week, Mike?
All right. EAGLES. Eagles are going down. The Niners are going to win this game. The Niners are going to win.
Wow. Because I'm not going to lie, I agree. I was going to pick the Niners. I know I just absolutely inflated the Eagles, but everyone's inflating the Eagles. And that's why I think the Niners have an absolute chip on their shoulder. They absolutely have something to prove. And when this team has their back against the wall and has something to prove, they step up. And it's not the playoffs yet. So we haven't seen the crisis moment in the playoffs. We'll see it this year at some point. But I don't know. The Eagles, to me, kind of strike me as they've been a little inconsistent this year. They haven't had that same confidence that I've seen from them last year, but they've still been winning games is the thing. And I know they just had a really high scoring shootout with the Buffalo Bills, but the Niners defense is much better than the Bills defense this year. The weather was bad in that game, no question. You know what? If it rains, I'm picking the Eagles.
Yeah,
let me
I can
check the
see
weather.
that.
Let me check the weather, because that is a huge factor. Shanahan teams perform terribly in the rain. They don't prepare well for that. And then we're gonna sit back here talking about, all right, the Niners are in the 3rd seed behind the Lions, and so that's actually a factor I didn't consider. I want to put that in my prediction. If it rains, I'm going to Eagles. If it doesn't rain, I'm going Niners. Let's see.
Go ahead and look it up. I'm picking the Niners simply because the Niners are healthier. I think Lane Johnson's hurt right now. Their tight end Dallas Goedert is hurt right now. I don't know if they're going to be healthy for the game. I mean, the Bills almost pulled it off against them, but I feel like the Niners' defensive line will do a better job against Jalen Hurts than the Bills' defensive line. I don't know how the Niners' defensive backs will do in pass coverage. I mean, Ward was killing it against DK Metcalf on Thanksgiving, but I don't know if he'll keep that up against A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. I feel like they have better receivers for sure. I think Jalen Hurts is special. That's exactly the quarterback I wish the Raiders could have. And I did notice in that Bills game that Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle, went down. I don't know if he's actually hurt, if he just got the wind knocked out of him, but that's a big loss. If he can't play against the Niners, that's big for the run defense against McCaffrey on the inside. I don't know. I just feel like the Niners at full strength versus the Eagles at like 90% full strength. And I think the Niners having a bit bigger of a chip on their shoulder, I feel like the Niners will go in there and, pull out the win. Whereas I guess the one thing with the Eagles for me is like they've won almost every game. And if it weren't for, of all people, Zach Wilson, they'd be undefeated right now. But it feels to me like every game the Eagles have been in have been within 2 scores. Like usually around like 10 points, like they're close games and the Eagles pull it out in like the 4th quarter. Not very many dominant wins, whereas like the Niners, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, this team, that team, all these other teams that you expect to win these games, even the Dolphins, have had dominant wins, and the Eagles have not had that yet. At least it doesn't feel like it. And I mean, beating the Niners would be a dominant win, even if it's by 1 point. But it like the Bills game, overtime, right? The Commanders, they barely squeaked out a win against them. I'd have to really actually go back and look at the schedule, but they haven't had that big scorched earth game, whereas the Niners have had multiple, where they just dominate teams. And I think that's going to be the big question in this game is, does the home field make a difference for the Eagles? Do they, I wouldn't say dominate, but beat the Niners? Can they dominate them? Or will the Niners dominate them? Because I can't help but think that the Niners dominating the Eagles is more likely than the Eagles dominating the Niners.
Oh no, I think it's going to be a close game, like no matter what.
That's what I hope.
I think both teams really want this game because, I mean, you can say that about every NFL game, but like there's a history between the Niners and the Eagles, because literally after the Niners lost to the Eagles, Deebo Samuel went talking shit about the Eagles and how they would have beat them if Brock Purdy played. I could absolutely see it. I could see it right now. The Niners don't win, and it's just like, all right, Eagles fans are going to talk. They're going to talk regardless, but that would be a big thing. And then it's going to be like this whole thing about, oh, just wait until we see in the playoffs. It was raining, or a bunch of excuses, right? One way or another, there's going to be excuses. that's what like every single fan of like, you know, or every single fan base typically always makes when they lose. But I will say if it's like lightly sprinkling and it doesn't have an effect on like the way that the players are going to grip the ball, my pick is the Niners. But if it's like raining enough to the point where like, you know, the announcers are talking, oh, you know, the rain's starting to pick up on the field. Like if it's like a substantial amount of rain, you know, then I'm going to go ahead and pick the Eagles. If it's a substantial amount of rain. If it's
Right.
like I guess we'll sort of we can come back to my prediction and like, you know, sort of gauge how we felt about the way that it played out. Like if the rain was a huge factor or not. If it didn't seem like the rain was a huge factor and the Niners, you know, ended up losing, you know, without like the rain being a huge factor, then I was just straight up wrong. You know, but the way I see it is the Niners are playing the Eagles at a right time, you know, at the correct time because, you know, like you said, one of their offensive linemen is out, Lane Johnson, right? That's one of their better.
I don't know if he's out, but he's injured, I think.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, they're playing the Eagles while they're, you know, sort of banged up. Yeah, you know, this is absolutely going to be a great game regardless. But we didn't have the podcast going at the time. Everyone was talking about how Niners Eagles in the playoffs was going to be a fantastic game. It feels like we're finally going to get it because we didn't really get it in the NFC Championship because Brock Purdy was injured. So I think Brock Purdy has a chip on his shoulder. I almost want to just take, you know, just go with the Niners. I don't know. I feel like the rain plays a huge part if it does rain hard. Because then we're talking about more tush pushes and ground game. And if it's a battle of absolutely like in the trenches, I don't know if the Niners O line is going to be able to, you know, hold it together against that Eagles front for a full game.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the big thing about the Eagles matchup is like I've been saying for a few weeks, especially obviously during the losing streak, but even before that, like the Niners pass defense is kind of a pass funnel. Like they let shit go. Like they let you pass on them.
Mm-hmm.
But the Eagles are worse. Like as receivers and quarterbacks are having fun against the Eagles. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I can see this being a big Brock Purdy game. But yeah, I could see the weather also potentially, you know, affecting that. But then again, you still have McCaffrey, you know. So I think the Niners kind of out tool them,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think that the Eagles haven't faced a team like the Niners. At the same time, I don't know if the Niners have faced a team like the Eagles. I kind of don't think so.
No.
So it is
This
a
is a
tough pick.
fantastic measuring stick game for both teams.
Yeah, and I hope it's close. And if it is close, then we know that it's proper, and like that's what we want to see in the championship. You know.
I'm so torn right now because I'm just like I want to just pick the Niners. I really want to just pick the Niners. They are actually, I think, 1.5 point favorites in Vegas. So if my opinion changes depending on the weather, I'll tell Mike and then I'll adjust the spreadsheet accordingly. But as of right now, man, it would kill me if the it wouldn't kill me. I would be happy. But just prediction wise, because I like to be right, even though that 3-game losing streak, you know, you can see it right there on the spreadsheet. Oh man, I don't know why. My gut is telling me now it's going to be a heavy rain game, and the Niners are going to pull it out because they're going to rely heavily on Debo and McCaffrey. But then, yeah, I don't know. We will find out. And as of right now, I'm going Niners if no heavy rain or substantial. Like if it doesn't hinder performance. So, and Mike, you are picking Niners. That's just straight up Niners.
Yeah, I'm picking straight up Niners. It would be fun to pick the Eagles and go up against you, but I don't know. I see the Niners winning. I think the Niners win the regular season matchup, but if the NFC Championship is in Philadelphia, I could see it going the other way.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, do I make a change? Do I do it? 49ers is no heavy rain. Because
like you're debating between just picking the Niners outright and not
having any conditions.
Between picking the Eagles.
No, not having any conditions.
Right. Yeah.
Is the thing. I want to pick the Niners.
Mm.
I really want to pick the Niners, but I know better on how they play in the rain. And it's the same story every time, and it kills me that they don't prepare better in the rain. It absolutely, it tears me apart. And I feel like such a fool because every single time I'm like, all right, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. It doesn't matter. Rain, blah, blah, blah. And then, Shanahan says this, like, oh, we just prepare like a normal game. Like, oh my God. It's like they're doing something wrong for a heavy rain game. Every time they don't prepare correctly, and it shows on the field. I'm going to keep it like that. If I change my mind, I'll change it. And I will tell Mike, and then we'll have clarification. Okay? We'll see how the weather goes closer to game time. But, yeah, I'm very excited to see this game. And, I hope that a lot of you didn't tune out with me contemplating for about, like 5 minutes there. But... yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have anything else that you want to get off your chest, Mike. Maybe that ugly ass sweatshirt.
I don't really have anything else. I just I hope for a great game. I don't have to worry about the Raiders this weekend. I can just worry about hopefully watching a really good football game.
Oh, hold on. Hold on 1 second. And I just want to say, I don't like Nick Sirianni at all. I really want the Niners to win this game. Like, no excuses. No excuses at all. Whether it rains, whether it pours, I really want them to knock that smirk off of Nick Sirianni's face. He has such a punchable face. He's like, oh my God, dude. He's an asshole. I hate him. I don't like him. He acts like a clown. It's like, whether it be doing this to the camera during games or like, yelling at Chiefs fans after they beat the Chiefs. Like, yeah, I don't want to hear anything, Chiefs. Like, you lost to them in the Super Bowl. Did I lose you, Mike? Well, I guess that signifies the end of the episode. I don't like Nick Sirianni. See, Mike's wearing the Eagles sweatshirt, and it seems like we just lost Mike's connection. So, Sirianni lost Super Bowl. Just mentioned it. Mike lost. I'm telling you, that's what it is.